Hello there! Happy Friday the 13th. I'm Scotty, you're not, and that's Nicolas Cage. We are back for a Friday the 13th review. We're on Friday the 13th part 2, despite the fact that I have part 3 back there, of course, and part 3 NECA figure. I just grabbed everything that was Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees related and put it right there. So you got the NECA figure, the NECA 2D Terror, you got a collection Blu-ray collection, you got the cup, and you got the steelbook of the first one. So I figured just put everything together. So we're here to talk about Friday the 13th Part 2, which I think is a much better film. Haven't rewatched it. It is, and I've heard this complaint, but it's true. It's sort of just another remake of the first one. It basically has the same setup. Only it's Jason killing instead of Mama Voorhees. But it's very similar. But I think the characters are a little bit better here, especially the final girl, Ginny, played by Amy Steele. I think she's a far better final girl because, one, they set up earlier on in the film that she's a psychologist or psychiatrist, one of the two. And she's the one that's even keeps talking when they go to a bar. She's like, hey, Jason could still be out there. And, if he saw what happened to his mom and now he's out to get revenge and all that stuff. And she's, in the know that something could be going on. And she's headstrong. She even warns Paul later, there's someone in the room. And he doesn't fucking listen. But, yeah. And she fights back later. She kicks Jason's ass. She fights him with a chainsaw. She smashes him with a chair. Yeah, she fights him. And Alice, who just tackled his voice a couple times and then ran away only to get chased again and then cut her head off. Speaking of which, we start off the film with a recap of the first film, verbatim, everything that happened throughout the first film. It's a dream that Alice had. She even dreams about having the dream at the end of the first one that was not supposed to have anything. It was just a dream, but they're like, okay, when they did the second one, what are we going to do? Pamela Voorhees is going to bring back Jason. And, I've said this before, not on camera or anything, but another idea they could have done, I mean, Jason's iconic now, sure, but another thing they could have done was, what if Pamela's husband comes to get revenge, right? We established that Jason died. Drowned. Pamela is there getting revenge. What about her husband? What if her husband is out for revenge now? What happened to Pamela? He lost his son. He lost his wife. And what if she has other kids? What if Jason had an older sister or a younger sister or a brother? What about Mason Voorhees? Megan Voorhees, It's one happy slashing family. But now, yeah, Jason. Gotta be Jason. They could have went other routes, is what I'm saying. Jason. What if Alice herself had the trauma and became a killer? We've seen movies before where trauma causes, who knows? But yeah, Jason. How does that work with continuity? Well, they say that happened back in the 60s, and this was 1980, so the first one took place in 1980. So, if he was there and saw his mom decapitated, he was all grown up already, living in the woods, and his mom didn't know about it. But so I assume that Jason survived his drowning and just stayed living in the woods for all this time. It's very weird. It's like Michael Myers living in the sewers for 20 years between Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O. At least with Halloween 4, they said they found him. And the new one, too, the 2018 one, said they found him. But yeah, so we start with Adrienne King reprising the role of Alice, and she agreed to a smaller role because she was actually she had a stalker after the first film, so yeah, it's kind of, art imitating life here with Jason showing up. And, she's talking to her mom on the phone about what happened. She has the nightmare, which is just showing us everything that happened in the first film. And then she wakes up and she opens the fridge, and Mrs. Voorhees' head is in the fridge. So Jason came in while she was sleeping, put the head in the fridge, and is like, shut it, and then hid. And then waited till she got up and opened the fridge. So he was going to wait somewhere for her to open the fridge. Like, I'm going to get her so bad. I'm going to get you punked. She's going to get punked. And waited for her to open the fridge door before. Like, what if she didn't open the fridge? What if she kept sleeping? What if she went for a walk? So I got itchy skin here. But, yeah, and then he stabbed her with an ice pick, which the first time it actually did get her, but then they redid it. But, yeah. And so now Alice is dead, and yes, I'm not a fan of this. Bringing back characters to come off right away. They did with Alice, they did with Laurie Strode in Resurrection, they've done it in other horror movies. They bring back previous characters just to kill them right away, and I think it's stupid. And to an effect, to a point, also Rachel from Halloween 4, she was in Halloween 5 longer than either Alice or Laurie Strode, but still, you bring them back just to kill them off. What's the point? Like, this has always bugged me. Like, just say they're still out there somewhere. But no, they just keep dead. And then it's 5 years later, and we follow Jeff and Sandra, who are two new characters, but Jeff is legitimately just discount Kevin Bacon. That's all he is. And they're verbatim Kevin Bacon and his girlfriend from the first film. Only difference here is the actress, there's two actors, the actresses who played Sandra and Vicky were actually 17. So, no, and they actually shot a sex scene with nudity for Sandra, but when they found out, they're like, no, we got to take it out. We can take it out. No. And I've heard about this done before in other movies. I think Brooke Shields in Blue Lagoon, I think she was underage, and I remember the actress's name. She was Danny in Hocus Pocus, and she has a nude scene in American Beauty. So, yeah, I guess if you could get permission from the parents, and it's artfully done. I don't know, I've never seen any of those movies. My mom had the Blue Lagoon movies, but they're too chicky flicky for me. But, yeah. I don't know. I'm up in the air either way. My heart is telling me no, so I'm more that way. Don't do it. Wait till they're 18, till it's legal. So I'm kind of on that side. No need to tell you're 18, and then it's fine if you want. It's your body. And again, also you can say it's their body, but again, even the actress who played Vicky, there's a scene where she's changing, and I said maybe they needed to have her parents on there. She was kind of needed to have someone. I don't know, but I don't know. Let's move on, shall we? So yeah, Jeff and Sandra. They're on the phone. Jeff's truck is being towed, and there's this guy, and they're trying to yell at him. It turns out that this other guy, their friend Ted, the prankster, and the luckiest son of a bitch in this movie, I'll explain why later, has hired this guy to tow the truck to a certain point, and this guy just goes along with it. I guess maybe he's getting paid, but yeah, and then three of them ride to the camp. And we do get one pre-kill before the rest of them. That's Ralph, but that's at night. Crazy Ralph comes back. You're all doomed. You're all doomed. Yeah, he gets the barbed wire on the neck. Dead. Good kill. Not the best in this. If you've seen this movie, you know what the best kill is. But in barbed wire, pretty effective. So that's let's put Crazy Ralph, because I'm gonna scratch it off when someone dies, so I make sure I don't miss anyone. I'm written down here. So we're introduced to the other kids. We got Scott, no relation, who is constantly like following Terry around, like he throws a rock at her ass cheek. She must have a tight ass, or if it just boom, it bounces right off. She must be working out because she throws it, it bounces right off. It's like she's toned. She works out. She had like the buns of steel or whatever that they have, but yeah, so there's Scott and Terry, and then we introduced Poho, who is the boyfriend of Ginny, who's the final girl who shows up, and we're shown right away that her car has a quirk where it doesn't like to start. And their information: Ted, Vicky, Jeff and Sandra, and Mark, who is in a wheelchair. And there is this sort of romantic thing between Mark and Vicky. And in real life, Vicky had sort of a crush on him, but she had to be let down because Mark in real life was gay. And yeah, but Mark is in a wheelchair in this movie. And so everybody goes out after the introductions and stuff. There's no snake killing in this one, so that's good. But they go out to the beach and everything in their 80s swimmy suits. But Jeff and Sandra go to check out Camp Blood, as they call it, where they come across Officer Mustache, who says, "You kids are getting away from here." But there's a scene I want to talk about before we get to that. There's a scene where Jason is skulking around this camp, and Terry is looking for her dog Muffin, who disappears and is presumably killed. We'll get to the ending of this movie. It's very confusing. Presumably killed. We see like a piece of it. I think Jeff and Sandra find it. A piece of Muffin, which, you gotta think, why are they letting this dog just run around? It's gotta have a leash, right? You just let it run around in the freaking woods? I need a drink. Sorry. Stop Eddie Betty. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's good. It's good. It's a Skittles flavor, but anyway. So Jason is sneaking around, and Terry's looking for Muffin, and she's looking right at the camera, which is supposed to be Jason's point of view, saying, "Is that you, Muffin?" You're looking right at it. You would see this gigantic ass man in a potato sack on his head, and you think it's your freaking dog? Hello? But in context, she's not. I don't think she's supposed to. I think it was the actress's fault. I think she looked at the camera by accident, and they just kept it in instead of reshooting it. I don't know. But like I said, Jeff and Sandra get caught by Officer Mustache. But then, even though he's been very sneaky, even when someone was looking right at him, Jason is spotted by Officer Mustache. So Officer Mustache follows him into the woods and starts skulking around one of the old cabins at Camp Blood. When Jason comes up from behind Officer Mustache with the hammer, see? But he doesn't bash his brains in with the hammer. No. He take it this side and he sticks the claw right in the backside of his head. And it would be one of the coolest kills in this movie, and probably one of the best ones, if not for another kill later on. But he did. I should actually mark him off too. So, Officer Mustache. So that's 2 kills. James said there was 9, so I'm looking. All right. There's 10. But we don't count. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Hold on. So there's 2 so far. So, yes. So then we go to the night swimming, right? No. We go to the bar. Everyone's at the bar, and Jeff and Sandra are forced to stay behind, as well as Mark, because he's in a wheelchair. Vicky stays behind because of him. And Terry and Scott. Terry stays behind and Scott stays behind because of Terry. So Terry goes out to go skinny dipping for like 5 seconds. Seriously, she takes her clothes off so we can get the gratuitous tit shot. They're nice. She jumps in the water, swims, and then comes back and sees her clothes are gone. But Scott, not me, has her clothes. He's like, "Eee!" And she puts clothes on and she chases him around. but he gets snagged up on one of Jason's rope traps, hung upside down. So she goes to find something to cut him down, but Jason shows up and slits his throat with the machete backwards. Yeah, the dull side of the machete, he slits his throat. It's not the first time it happened, not the last time it happened in this movie either, but yeah, the dull side. I'm like, did they not know how a machete works? How did the dull side, like if I took a butter knife and took the dull side, it wouldn't cut me, a little butter knife. If I took a steak knife and still, the dull side wouldn't cut your throat. I mean, come on. So one of the things, I showed my son this on TV with no nudity. It's on TV. It's on AMC. So I don't know that. But I showed him that. And even though I could went like, look, it's backwards. He's like, why backwards? I'm like, I don't know. They messed up. I don't know. But yeah. If it's on AMC, they're going to cut all the nutty stuff out. So it's fine to show him. But well, I'll wait until he's older. At least 16 before he sees those kind of movies. That's when I was watching them. I was 16. Okay, I was younger than that. But my mom didn't know it. You know. Shut up. So, that marks off Scat. Sorry. And, yeah, so Terry runs up and sees this, turns around, and screams at something, which is Jason, and that's it. She's dead. I'm serious. She's dead. Because later we see his body her body, just laid to the side with no marks on it. I don't know. Did Jason strangle her? Who knows? That's it. So, meanwhile, back at ye old survivor cabin, Jeff and Sandra go upstairs to make the hanky-panky, while Vicky and Mark, sit downstairs and flirt and talk about, I only want your fingers. Wink. What are we going to play for? Position. Wink. So they're playing this little football game. He said he wanted to play football or something. And they talk about, like, does everything down there not work? Wink. So, yeah. So she goes to get ready. And she goes in there and she sprays down there perfume. I'm no expert of that down there. But I imagine, much like the pee hole, it would be very airy sensitive. So I don't think you want to be doing that. Okay? I'm just saying. You know. Just saying. Cause sometimes you get soap in there and it's like, you know what I mean? Just so, you know. No. But, yeah. But then Jason shows up, stabs her. I'm not exactly sure which order it is, but I'll just say that. And then he shows up at Jeff and Sandra's room after they finished hankity-pankity, and he kills him with this spear through both of them in the bed, which is, I'm going to say it, ripped off from A Bay of Blood or Twitch of the Death Nerve. You know, like, ripped off. So hold on. 5. Mark it off. We're down to 5 now. We're up to 5 now. Jeff and Sandra. Hold on, I forget Jeff and Sandra. So that's 7, right? All right. So at this point, we have. Oh, I forgot one between. So I think Jeff and Sandra die first, and then it's Mark. Mark wheels out to look around, and he gets a machete backwards again through the head. And then his wheelchair goes all the way down the steps. And that is the best kill in the movie, ladies and gentlemen. It is the best. It is the best. The best a man can get. One of the actors' names was Gillette, Warrington Gillette. But I don't think he did this kill. I think it was Steve Dash. Because Warrington Gillette was Jason. And he left production after a while. And then they brought in Steve Dash, who did most of the other stuff. So, with Mark dead, Ginny and Poho come back from the bar. They leave Ted at the bar. So Ted, the luckiest bastard in the world, stays behind and does not get killed. He just gets drunk. Maybe alcohol poisoning. Who knows? But he is safe. And now we are up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is 9? Did I miss one? Alice. Duh. Wait. No, that is still 8. There. I marked it down. So 9. 9 kills. We have all 9 kills that happen in this movie. So, Jenny and Poho return to the camp and start looking around for the people. Jason's cleaned up his mess, except for one bed that has a whole bunch of freaking blood in it. Missed one. So looking around, this is when Jenny realized that there's someone in the room with them. Like, I should mention earlier is when she had a conversation when they were at the bar talking to Paul. Like, hey, maybe he was still out there. She's smart. You know, she's smart. But yeah, so Jason attacks Paul Holt, and I think this is where we're supposed to believe that he kills Paul. Because he chases Jenny. Jenny does the final girl circuit, where she finds all the bodies, including Crazy Ralph, who he's locked in the pantry, and they never found him in the pantry yet. Was he in the pantry? He's in some kind of closet. I don't know. And eventually, she finds the cabin. I guess their chase leads to Camp Blood. I don't know. She finds a cabin with Pamela's head in it, and even the freaking sweater. Wait a minute. Something to connect here. After all these years, the cops showed up at the end of the last one. Wouldn't they take her body? Did Jason rob a morgue? Did he dig up her body? I mean, in part 4, we see that they buried her on the side of the freaking road. But not yet. I don't know. It's very confusing. This is 5 years later. So subjectively, this is 1984. This is taking place. Keep that continuity in mind here. First one takes place in 1980. This is 5 years later, so it's 1985 actually. It's 1985 that this one is taking place. Can you imagine? So yeah, we get the final. She puts on the sweater and pretends that she's Pamela Voorhees because she's a psychologist. So she's, playing psychologist with him. Jason, messing with his mind. And then Paul Holt comes in. But Jason sees that the head and so attacks her. But Paul Holt comes in and saves the day. Supposedly puts Jason down. And then this is where she fights him with the chainsaw and the chair. They supposedly put Jason down. And then they go back to the cabin. And they hear something at the door. And it's Muffin, who we saw the corpse of earlier, ? And then Jason leaps through the window, attacking Ginny. But it was all a dream. And Ginny is being carted away on a stretcher saying, "Where's Paul? Where's Paul? Where's Paul? Where's Paul?" This is how the movie ends. That's it. That's how the movie ends. Well, actually, we go to a shot of Mrs. Voorhees' head in the shrine. And originally the eyes were supposed to open, but they thought it was too corny. And they would be right. That would make any sense to me. Then again, what they do at the end of part 3 with her body just isn't. But yeah, the biggest question this movie always gets is, what happened to Paul? If we assume that Jason killed him in that one cabin, then how did Ginny survive? And how did she get away? I mean, she kicked his ass, but Paul was the one who came in and helped finish Jason off, so I don't know. I think when the next one picks up, he's just walking around, right? Or he wakes up and starts walking around and is somehow bald now, even though we see him with long hairish. I don't know. But I'm still going to say this is pretty good. There's some great kills in here. Not as good quality as the first one when it comes to kills, because it's not Tom Savini this time. but it's still good. A better final girl. I think the cast is a little bit better than the first one. They're more enjoyable. Even though it's sort of taking what happened in the first one and kind of redo it a little bit. There's even a scene where Ted is pranking people like the guy from the first one. So, yeah. But overall, I think the characters are handled better. But yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Friday the 13th Part 2? Leave me a comment below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll be back in October for the next Friday the 13th review. I'm, of course, going to do more videos between then. Don't be stupid. But I'm just saying, the next Friday the 13th review will be in October. 2 of these a year won't be that bad. So, thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.